Hello, and welcome to the second video of the DevOps for Jazz.net. My name is Christoph Elk. I'm the DevOps Deployment Manager for Jazz.net. In my role, I'm continuously deploying and upgrading Jazz.net to the latest version of CLM. In my last video, I showed you the process that we're using and the architecture that we're using in Jazz.net. In this video, we're going to talk about the integration about the development side and the operation side. One of the things that I mentioned in the last video was the fact that in DevOps I want the developer to have access to the operation side and understand what's happening in transparency. What I'm going to show in that video is the other side of the work, which is I want the operation team to behave like developer. Their goal is to create script, version them, and deliver them directly into the Urban Code deploy. So when the developer wants to deploy something new, the new version of the script and the code to deploy it will be there. Both the code that they develop as a developer and the script that the operation team is doing. And we're first going to look at the RTC configuration. So the operation team can create script, publish them, deliver them into the stream. We're then going to see that build engine that publishes directly into Urban Code Deploy, which is new in 4.06 and 5.0 of CLM. Finally, we're going to change and do some demo where we're going to deliver a new piece of the script and see how it's generated directly into a version in Urban Code Deploy. First, let's look at the Rational Team Concert version 4.06 of 5.0 with the new build engine definition that contains one of the tabs that allows us to deploy directly to Urban Code Deploy. In this environment, Rational Team Concert, this is where the operation developer, if you want, or the operation engineer is going to create, modify, and update the script. So let's look at the way it works right now. What we are seeing is Rational Team Concert, some of the editor, and in my project area you can see that I have a build definition called a self-hosting build definition. Let's open it and let's see what it contains. The first tab is not very different from any other build where you define properties and build engine where you're going to deploy your build or where the build is going to run. Nothing in the schedule. I didn't set up anything. My Jazz source control got a link to the component that contains my source code. Nothing special in this one. The command line is pretty empty. I don't do anything. I just list the path. The next tab, this one here, is the one that is very important. That's the one that contains all the information relative to deploying my build to Urban Code Deploy. So let's take a couple minutes to look at this tab in details. First, you can see that I can define when to deploy to Urban Code Deploy, and in that case I said always. If I scroll down, you'll see the link to my Urban Code server. I can test the connection, make sure that it works. Then you can see information about my publishing artifact. So that's where I'm going to define my component inside Urban Code Deploy. You'll see that one of my components is called the CLM res component. That's the one that is defined inside Urban Code Deploy. I'm going to talk about the version. So the version that is going to be generated, my working directory. Interestingly, my working directory matches my Java project, and that's because I want all the file in my Java project, and namely my configuration file and properties, to be deployed. So that's where I'm going to tell that tab check every file inside that Java project, and these are the ones that we're going to publish directly to Urban Code Deploy. In your case, you may have a build that creates a zip file, that creates anything else, and that's what is going to be published. In my configuration, I only got a project. It's not even a Java project, it is a project with files inside, and they are the file that I'm going to push directly to Urban Code Deploy. Down, if I scroll, you can see that I have the ability to run a process post-deployment In my case, I have not done that, but that's some of the things that we may envision in the future. We're now in Urban Code Deploy. The version that I'm using is this version here. Here's a component that will contain all the script and the configuration file. As you can see, we already got a couple version with a couple state where the test is passed. So as an example, I'm going to open one of my file, check them in. I just created this new file and I'm going to check and deliver it into the stream. As a developer, as an operation developer, I behave exactly like any developer. I'm going to put a comment as to why I'm delivering that version, and I'm going to publish it and push it directly into the stream. I can now go to the build definition, request a new build, which is going to pull the latest files from my stream and my repository workspace, and build that component, push it directly to Urban Code Deploy, as we'll see later. The build is now done. I'm going to open the result, check the log. We can see that the build is progressing. I can even see the result of my pwd, which is my command line. That doesn't do anything for now. And the rest is just an information that everything has been published to Urban Code Deploy. So let's verify that. So refreshing the list of versions, we can see that a new version is being created. Doesn't have a status yet. And if I look inside that version, I verify that my new file, the Jazz configuration, is being published. So it is available now as a version of my component in Urban Code Deploy automatically through the build of Rational Team Concert. So for my process, I need to add a status on that new version, telling it that it's been tested. We did test the script, and it's now available for me to use in Urban Code Deploy in my process when I'm going to upgrade the version of CLM that is available on Jazz.net. So I'm going into my application. I'm just going to put that into the staging first. I'm picking the latest version of my CLM component, which is the latest build. And the latest version should be, and it is, the one that we just built, that is available automatically. So as a developer, I can now pick the latest version of the build, the latest version of the script, and push that into my production or my staging. We can do some of the approval and submit the content. In that second video, we saw two parts of the job. When my operation team is being as a developer, they're creating some of the script in Rational Team Concert. They're using the latest build available in 406 and 5.0 to push automatically their script and configuration and information into Urban Code Deploy automatically without any manual intervention. At the same time, we saw that the developer can now go into Urban Code Deploy and pick up the latest version of the byte of the code, as well as the latest version of the script, and request a build. Words of caution. What you saw is not considered best practice yet. What we did is we moved from a script that was already created and available on our system, and we try to migrate and move into an Urban Code Deploy process. Certain things like the configuration as a file or the script that is not a plugin are not best practices. In the next video, I'll show you how to move from an existing script and configuration into an Urban Code best practice process. The other thing we will look into a new video or a future video is to understand how we can improve the urban code deploy to push into a zero downtime switch. Could it be continuous delivery into production or the swim lane process? So stay tuned for the next video, and thank you for watching this one.